I'm live. I'm live and the world shines for me today. All right, let's make sure I don't jumble anything up. Whoops, too big. Make the picture bigger and the word, no, make the picture smaller and the words bigger. That's what I like to do. So, hey, good morning, good morning. Looks like we're all set up, feeling good, looking good. Feeling 7 up, I'm feeling 7 up. I love it. I love it. There we go with that. I gotta do something with this. And I'll just wait for my friends to show up. And if not, I'll just talk with somebody, a pretend person, for an hour so that we have a recording of today. So here we go. I am going to do this over here. Manage videos. There we go. The live is living. Okay. Here's the chat. Can you see and hear me? There we go. Yay. The weather has broken here a little bit. It is only 84 degrees out. I love it. I love it. I am loving the fact that, there we go. Yay, USC 595. Thank you for letting me know you can see and hear me. We rely on a lot of this free technology, and so you just never know. Now I don't have to be worried. Notice the fear of me talking and not people not hearing me or thinking they're seeing me and they're not. You have now calmed down my nervous system greatly, so thank you. I hope I can repay the favor and do the same for you. There we go. Just crossing out something I researched. Don't have to do that anymore. Carla Jane, I literally was just looking at, because I wrote it back. I wrote it down when you and I were chatting, and I'm going to type it here. And it's fruit basket turnover is a saying often associated with a children's game that describes a sudden, chaotic, and complete change or disruption. I love it. I love it. I'm trying to say there's also a kids game. I that just cracks me up. But I know that feeling. I know that feeling. So good morning. I hope you're doing some good stuff. I got some good stuff done in between the declutter party and right now. And basically a lot of it was, frankly, fruit basket upset. There you go, Laura Voorhees, and she's got all the fruits there. I made myself feel better. I got up and I moved my body around after sitting for so long. Don't let your blood pool in your butt. Get up, walk around. I realized I was a bit peckish, and so I made myself an English muffin with a little bit of butter and a sliced tomato on top. Also, funnily enough, this morning when I did the Destination Decluttered TikTok live, I was feeling kind of hot temperature-wise, and so I made myself some iced tea. Well, now that I've been in an air-conditioned house, I'm a little bit chilly, so I made myself some hot tea. There we go. Becca Lee, I love it. Becca Lee has been organizing since your TikTok live. I hope, Becca Lee, that you have taken some breaks. Have you taken some breaks? Because taking a break is really important. Actually learning that you can take a break and get started again is often more strengthening than if you try to do it until you're exhausted and you just are running out of gas. So I hope you have been organizing, and I hope you are practicing taking a break and then getting back into it. So good stuff. Good stuff. I decluttered my brain, which is a place I love to declutter. I wrote down some stuff. I scheduled some things. I crossed some things out. All sorts of stuff. Okay. So getting the good stuff done today and feeling good. And what do I mean by feeling good? Feeling good. Feeling kind of not heavy, not light, just right. Not like scattered, but not hyper-focused, just right. Peaceful, a peaceful, easy feeling, perhaps, as the Eagles might say. Now, this is one of the ones that I have written down because I'm looking at it right there. Peace of mind. And I also, when I think of peace of mind, I feel it in my heart. So the feeling of having a peace of mind. There's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing has gone wrong here. In fact, a lot of good stuff is happening, and I am making some good stuff happen. You are making some good stuff happening with your decluttering. You are learning a different way to talk to yourself, a different way of doing things. And ideally, you're experimenting with it and it's working for you. If it isn't, tell me. It's almost like if somebody sells you something and it doesn't work out, don't just give up. Let the person know so they can fix it. I love it. I'm so psyched. Cheryl, nice to see you. Cheryl with an S. Becca Lee, I am so glad to hear that you took a breakfast break. That's just like pulling your car over and filling up your tank at the gas station. So yay for you to do that. That's important. I did it myself. Yeah, we did the declutter party and now we're doing the YouTube live. I write these things down because these are the good things that I make happen in my life. When I reflect back and I say to myself, what did you do with that time I gave you? As if the universe or the Lord is saying to you, I gave you a life. What did you do with it? I get receipts. I get receipts. I helped people. I helped myself and I helped other people. I showed up in the energy of love and kindness. I was slow to judge, slow to anger, and quick to forgive. I wasn't judgy. I was curious. I wasn't in fear. I trusted in love. Imagine at the pearly gates, if you imagine the pearly gates or not. But how are you feeling about what you're doing with your time that you've been given on this planet? Now, I know this is me jumping right into the deep end, but the deep end, we can also swim around in it. We can also hang on to the edge of the pool and chat with each other. We can also swim to where maybe your toes drop down and you feel a little bit, whoo, I don't have to tread water as much just to keep my head above water. So whatever depth of the pool you want to be in, let's hang out there, shall we? Because I have gotten so much better at swimming in and hanging out with and having fun in all areas of the pool or the ocean because it's the summer. So as I like to say too, I recognize a lot of the names here, but maybe somebody is watching and not saying anything in the comments. So I want to make sure I introduce myself. My name is Beth. Better yet, remember these two words, destination decluttered. Destination decluttered. It's here on YouTube. We're doing this YouTube live for the next 52 minutes or so. And this is officially well over 750 videos here on the YouTube channel for you to literally and metaphorically check out. Check out like a library book. Check out like you're watching it. Excuse me. I'm really here, honestly, you guys, to just make it easy for you. If you're making it tough on yourself, the way you're decluttering is making it feel tough. I am here to show you an easier way to do things. And not just show you and be like, look what I did. No, to teach you the step by steps, the step by step by step by step, the little baby steps, because the little baby steps can make a big difference. Any of us who have, turned your ankle or whatever, know that putting your foot down straight versus putting it sideways could make a difference between, breaking a foot bone or just walking regular. So when you notice the small things, say to yourself, does this small thing help me? Or is it stopping me from getting to my destination decluttered? And then seriously, just freaking living there and maintaining that glorious decluttered lifestyle. I thought about this when I was writing my books about road tripping, because I realized even if I did a book a year, which is fairly aggressive, especially when I was thinking of writing a book for each state of the United States, that would still be 50 years. And I was like, I don't want to be 100 years old and still cranking out books. So looking ahead, I say to you, there's a road trip to your destination decluttered. If you continue to drive on it, you will get closer every day. It will be decluttered, more decluttered than you ever have been. And when you get to your kind of done point, you're going to get there. And then it's just a matter of maintaining it. And this is why I show up to teach you the skills, not just to declutter, but to maintain your decluttered lifestyle. You know? Oh, funny. Dawn says, I find it fascinating that you popped up in my YouTube feed, normally independent news for me. Get it? I was deciding to push through some things. I'm going to push through. I like to think, and we were talking a little bit about God, religion, spirituality, the mysteries, the mystery forces that are unseen and yet felt sometimes. We were talking about that on today's TikTok, but I will share with you, I choose to believe in the mysteries, the invisible mysteries of the universe, and that they even have that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So perhaps I have appeared at just the right time for you. At the right time where you are open and receptive to saying, you know what, you're right. What I have been doing has not been working. So what else? What are other people doing? There we go. Yeah, Kim K, 1111, completely, completely. Somebody, it was so funny. Somebody asked what 1111 was the other day, and we're like, well, it's kind of like this thing where you notice it. And seriously, if you think about it, back in the day of what they now call an analog clock, 1111 wasn't a big deal, but on a digital clock, the 1111 looks kind of cool. Why not notice it? Where were you 1111 yesterday? 11:11 a.m. yesterday. Where are you today? I have a friend who has an app on her phone. A couple of them do, that reminds you to take a picture at a certain time and share it, a picture of you at a different time. So it's like kind of a more accurate snapshot of what you're really doing with your time. Um, so yeah. Yeah. And yay, thank you, LO, for saying your insight has been super helpful in my decluttering journey. I love that word, insight, because we are often looking out this way. If we try to look in, we get cross-eyed or we go rolling our eyes to the back of our head. But closing your eyes that typically look outwards allows you to, as they would say, kind of look inward and notice what's inside. Kind of like you've got your external, the exterior of your house. You walk past a house, you see just the surface, what's on the outside. You have no idea when you're walking past somebody else's house what's going on the inside. Same thing with you and this house you live in. Is it looks a certain way from the skin out, but from the skin within, as I like to say, because I like a rhyme, what's going on in here? Insight. Look inside. There's a wealth of power and information and answers to help you get to where you want to go. And it really is inside you. I just happen to know how to listen to it and help you realize, oh, you're right. I did come up with that idea. I did come up with those categories. I did decide that I don't want that thing anymore. I did choose to put my laundry away versus just leaving it on the counter. So you have the power. You can do this. But if you don't have the roadmap, it's like having a car and knowing how to drive, but not knowing what direction. Like, you know, you want to get to, I'm always using Palm Springs, but you don't know how to make a map or to show up on a road trip. That's where I'm here to help you with this. Now, I don't drive you there, but I teach you how to do it yourself so that both of us can do these things. I think it's really cool to expand people's skill set because decluttering is a life skill. Let me share this with you. I will be completely transparent here. I know that I tend to say the same phrases to describe things because they make sense to me. So I tend to tell the same stories or use the same references. And I'm hoping that the way I'm describing things makes it easier for you to kind of just absorb it and comprehend it. But I will ask you, I'm not sure. I don't know that for sure. Nobody ever knows anything for sure. So I ask you, please let me know of a concept or a story that I have mentioned before that isn't quite hitting home with you yet, that you don't quite get what I'm saying. Okay. So, what is something that I have described before in the process of decluttering the way that I describe it. What is something that you keep on forgetting or it just doesn't click yet? I've been there with stuff that I have been learning. I literally, this is why I call, like, for example, the thoughts in your heads, I just call them words in your heads because I know what words are. I know that words make a sentence. The sentence is in your head. Because when I was going on my kind of life journey, decluttering journey, life coaching journey, I remember getting confused. Okay, is that a belief or is that a thought or is that a feeling? It was like, your beliefs becomes your actions. And it was like a math problem that I just could not get the way that they were describing it. So I share with you. I hope what I'm saying hits the mark. So please tell me, what is a concept that I have not made any easier for you that I could perhaps describe in a different way? I mean, trust me. I would love to think that everything I say is like that shoot that poison arrow through your heart, like it hits a bullseye. But I know there are times where I might miss the mark. I'm not maybe totally off the dartboard, but I haven't hit a bullseye. So you guys, many of you have followed me for quite a while, and for new people, welcome. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. For those of you who have heard me for a while, what's something you would like me to elaborate on, to clarify with, to say, I love what you're saying, but this concept I just don't get? Okay. I'll give you a minute or so to think about it because sometimes we just need quiet to listen to that. Right. And I'm patient. I like quiet. And we'll see where it goes from there. How's that? I love this. Thank you, Shannon. So Shannon is saying, can you explain the value in what we have called colloquially a bunch of different things, but let's call it the good book? And I assume you're not meaning the Bible because some people call the Bible the good book, but this to me, I will. And more on the roadmap. Okay, yeah. So let's start with kind of what we call the good book. This is how I explain it to my clients, and this is what makes sense to me is, in my experience, the human brain is wired to be much more aware of the negative and the unhelpful. Well, the negative than the unnegative. What do I mean by that? I mean that typically, if you think about it, sometimes many times will start a conversation not about what went right, but oh my God, the traffic. Even me, this weather. Sometimes the weather is horrible. We are kind of wired to, lean towards the where things don't go right. Okay, I think of this, and notice my hands are going like this because I think of it as, again, I use the metaphor of the car all the freaking time. So your car is meant to, you want to drive your car straight ahead, but your wheels are permanently out of alignment. Okay. Now, you know what it's like to drive your car when your wheels are not in alignment, right? If you don't pay attention, you might find yourself drifting towards, and we'll just say for our metaphor, towards the where things go wrong and all the no and all the fear. In order to even just drive straight, never mind go in another direction, you need to consciously turn your steering wheel more away from the negative and start to pay attention to the more helpful and the positive. When you do this, what this really does too, and notice my hands right now, I'm almost like I'm tipping the scales. If your scale tends to go to the negative, which is because in the premise of we're all wired negatively, so you lead with the negative and you can more easily remember with clarity and for decades all the bad stuff that happened. But on the flip side, the good stuff, you tend to forget it. It doesn't accumulate. It does not last as long. Like, that was nice, but oh my God. And then that time that my car blew up, right? So all this does, one of the things, and I say all this does, I should rephrase that. One of the really important things it does, let's put some emphasis on it, is that it can at least balance the scales to remind you that not all the stuff is bad. Not all the stuff is good though, but there is more of a balance between the good stuff and the not so good stuff in the world, but really in your world. So what I have found helpful, as have my clients, is this kind of creates some new neural pathways. This creates a way of thinking about the world, and basically what you look for, you will find evidence of. If you wanted to show me how awful your house was, you would point to that and point to that and point to that and point to that. Could you, on the flip side, have as equal amount of things that you pointed to that you loved? If only to just kind of cancel it out and leave yourself at a place that's feeling good. What we write down also gives us a chance to remember things more. This is why you take notes when you're in school. Okay. Now, Dawn says, I think women especially automatically look for the negative. We have to retrain ourselves. It could be human, it could be women, it could be men. I just say humans. I keep it open, but no big deal. Our brain is wired to look for the negative because we're looking to solve a problem before it happens. We are being mindful of saber-toothed tigers and on the lookout about them because in prior years and generations of humanity, if you were not aware of the potential threats, you could be killed. We still have that wiring, but when's the last time your clutter actually, well, except for Carla tripping on stuff, but really caused some serious, grave pain to you? But what I mean is when you write things down, okay, when you write things down, you will be giving yourself another opportunity to relive it. Why do you have a road trip journal, or vacation journal, writing down what you did on your vacation to remember it, so that you can go back and perhaps reread what you did when you were in Ireland, because up here is not a great filing cabinet. And then you have evidence. You have evidence, as if, again, you were at the pearly gates or you were in Perry Mason's courtroom and somebody said, what did you do with the time in life I gave you? You could be like, I did a lot of good stuff. Because you know the feeling, we all do, of getting to the end of the day and not writing something down and really not paying attention to what you're doing. You immediately go to, I feel like I wasted that day. Like, what did I do? Oh, I must have done nothing. This happens to me, and it's completely false sometimes. I think and feel, oh my God, I must have wasted some time. Okay. And you're welcome, John. So that's why I write down what I want to do. When I do it, I cross it out because it feels good to do that. And I rewrite what I did that went well in my good book. So I have like the highlights, all the good stuff that I did. And as I mentioned earlier today, like, well, even these two books right here, never mind the one I'm actively working on since last August. This is 2 years worth of good stuff. Do I need to read every page to know that? No, I can glance at these books and be like, holy Moses, I have 4 years worth of evidence of when I have shown up on a daily basis and done good stuff, and good stuff has just happened to me. What you look for, you will find. You will begin to crave it. You get in the habit of writing good stuff down, so you will find good stuff. The temperature is 10 degrees less than yesterday. I smiled at a neighbor. I got a random check in the bank in the mail for $40 from my doctor's office. Writing those things down helps to rebalance the scales. So again, it's not all shit and you do nothing, and then it's also all yippee skippy and then you do nothing. But you say, okay, things are not as bad as I seem. And when you're feeling better, kind of nervous system and the story you're telling yourself, you are more likely to do things to continue it on the journey you are. Dawn, or excuse me, that was Shannon. Shannon, I hope that helps. But if I'm missing the mark, if you're not like, oh, I get it now, and if there's something else, please let me know. I am happy to elaborate on it because I want to make sure that what I am saying to you isn't just the same thing over and over again, but it's not clicking. Okay. If you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to ask. What I will say is this is something I never did. I would do a brain dump of stuff, and I would usually be, dear diary, that guy that I like doesn't like me, and all this awful stuff. And you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I consciously emphasize the good stuff because it puts me in a better state of mind to then take action to move towards the things that I want to do. And when I take that action, Just like walking, I build my muscle and it becomes easier to move towards what I want. Where for decades, I used to be paralyzed and never moved towards what I wanted and was like, oh, well, I guess it's not meant to be. And now I'm like, screw that. What can I do to get what I want? Okay. So I hope that helps. Okay. Now, Tanya is saying more on the roadmap. Okay. Here, I literally, pardon me. Let me see where it is. Here we go. All right. Roadmap. So legitimately, this is a roadmap, right? I'm over here, Eastern Seaboard. You are somewhere. Pretend you're on this side, though. Okay. So what I want to offer to you is the concept of your life being a road trip, for example, or anything you are, having a destination. Having a road trip, having a roadmap helps you know what to do next. Do I take that trip? You know, if I want to get from here to there are many roads you can take to get from here to there. You can't get there from here. Pepperidge Farm remembers, right? Saying to yourself, there is a plan. What can I do ahead? There we go. Okay, so you're in Arizona, right? There we go. There's Arizona. What if you want to get to Florida, destination Florida? You are going to say, well, I've got my point A and I've got my point B or F for Florida, but if I'm going to drive there, I need to decide what route to take. And so what that means is choosing what you're going to do with the time and energy you have to get there and chunking it down. Now, what do I mean by chunking it down? By saying, okay, if it's going to take me, like I know, for example, no offense to Arizona, I'll go back to PA to PS. I know it takes about 40 hours, allegedly, kind of a straight shot to drive from Pennsylvania to Palm Springs, California. So then you say, well, do I want to drive 4 days, 10 hours a day? Do I want to drive 10 days, 4 hours a day? A roadmap is really this is what I call my daily roadmap, frankly, is my roadmap is from 6 a.m. today to 9 p.m. tonight. Yep, that is today, actually. What am I going to do between the time I wake up to the time I go to bed that's going to get me closer to the stuff I want to do? And then, much like a roadmap, you may have some maps in your head, but there's no way I could drive to Palm Springs from Pennsylvania without having a map in front of me, even if it's especially like my Google map. So it doesn't mean that you know every turn, left, right, left, right, left, right, but it's enough to get you started. It is pointing you in a direction you want to go. And ideally, in that road trip metaphor, that it keeps you keeping your eyes on the prize because you're excited about that. And every day you have the opportunity to drive a little bit closer to being less cluttered than the day before. Does that help? Does that help? I am a great, Tanya, I hope that helps. If not, again, please ask follow-up questions. If you think about it, you're on a road trip, right? So I'm here in Pennsylvania and I look ahead. I look down the road. To say, okay, if I drive for 6 hours, where will I end up? Oh, if I drive just for 6 hours and I don't know what my destination, like in towards Palm Springs, I could drive for 6 hours and then be in the middle of nowhere. So I say, okay, how about around the 4 to 6 hour mark, I look for a hotel. Okay, you know what? For me, I'd probably be in Pittsburgh. So I say to yourself, with the time and energy you have to declutter, what could you do with that time and energy to get closer to your destination? Okay. And you just chunk it down on a daily basis. Today I could conceivably leave my house and be in Pittsburgh by dinner time. Now, if I was driving 10 hours a day, that would mean like 4 hours more. I would get into Ohio, but that's after using my time and energy. I already will have been doing it for 4 hours or 6 hours. I'm going to be tired. So that concept of being on a road trip is you still have the map. You still know where you're going, but then you plan your days of driving so that you feel okay and make progress. That you don't do all or nothing. You don't do the 4 hours of driving 10 and you don't stop and pee. It's a road trip, not a commute. You're not a trucker trying to get the beer to the over the state line before, BJ and the Bandit or whatever. Or who is that? Yeah. Yeah. So John is asking, I love follow-up questions. So do you chunk it by hourly in your journal? No, no. That's just highlights. That's just highlights. So literally, I have expanded my list of things to do. I also do this, just so you know. Where's a better example? Because I'm really getting to the end of that. Is I am a visual creature, as many of us are. And sometimes when I see all the things I have to do in a day in a list, it makes me feel like on a monthly calendar, when you list the things in that little square of the things you have to do, it can feel like your whole day is shot even when you have one thing on there. I like to think of this as one square on the monthly calendar, but it's big enough so I can break it down by hours. So I see when I have some things scheduled, but then I see where I have free time to do other things. So hourly on your daily road trip, much like a road trip, you would say, oh yes, like here's the map. I go down 29 and then I get onto 76 and then I go up 100 and then I go over to 422 and then, those things are specific things. But at the end of the day, think of it as a travel journal. Are you going to write down those things? No, it's kind of boring, but what you might write down are the highlights. Decluttered for 20 minutes. Stopped and had a really nice tomato sandwich. Hung out on the patio. What are the things that you would want to read? You don't want to read your to-do list. Yes, it happened. And there are some things that I do put on there. Like I went and did errands in Reading, PA the other day to remind myself of what I was doing outside. Does that help, John? I hope it does. And if not, I'm glad to elaborate. Yeah. And I am also, as I said, I'm a decluttering life coach. So we use the framework of decluttering to get you to as just as not a Trojan horse really, but like as a way to practice this practice. But it's also about making sure there's time on your daily for some stuff that's good for you, that you're not just all work and no play. Okay. That's chunking it down and feeling good about what you're doing and choosing to feel good about what you did as opposed to beating yourself up for what you didn't. That's something you can do outside of decluttering. Why not use it everywhere in your life? I choose to believe that I could easily beat myself up by not going for a 45-minute walk this morning. But I went for a 30-minute walk, which is more than yesterday and especially more of the couple of days before because it's been wicked hot where I am. So I choose to focus on the good things I did do, put into context the things I didn't do, and stop shaming and blaming and judging, because shame and blame and judgment and fear do not help me move forward being the person I want to be. So notice where you're judging yourself. Don't do that. Notice where you're blaming yourself. Don't do that. Notice where you're feeling ashamed. Don't do that. It's just you have a finite amount of time and energy on this planet. Shame and blame and embarrassment and fear are like poking a hole in your gas tank. It will leak out. Okay? Yeah. So John says, recently retired, planned on decluttering all the messes, but haven't started any yet. Okay. So John, since you're new here too, a number of people are here. So let me give you a framework that might help you start maybe after you get off this call or whenever you decide to implement it. So a lot of what I do, and this is why I especially include that life coaching aspect of what I do, is incorporating how you feel as a person. How are you feeling physically? Because if you're tired, if you're angry, if you're frustrated, it's not going to feel good to do anything. So I always say the first step is to check in with your physical body. Now, I also say this because I get headaches fairly easily. And I know if I try to ignore how I'm feeling and just power through, my headache will get worse and what I'm doing will be unpleasant because I have a headache. So John, I would say check in with yourself. How are you feeling physically? If you're not feeling decent, okay, if you scanned from your top of your head down to the bottom of your feet, and I use the word down a lot because it helps you calm down. If there's anything that kind of, you know, has a red blinking light, you know, like, oh, my shoulder hurts, or I have to go to the bathroom, or I'm hungry, or, you know, I'm bleeding. Fix those things. Do something to feel better physically, but then also a great word. So, scanning down your physical body and then calming down your nervous system. Scanning down your body reconnects you to this, as we were calling it the other day, this meat robot that we're walking around in. Our souls are you know, moving around the world in. Calming down your nervous system. Now, oftentimes, what can get your nervous system not calmed down, but by overwhelm, is what you see and what you tell yourself about what you see. This would be what we would call like overwhelm. So, quieting down, calming down, shutting down your eyes to just get yourself to feel okay to start the journey. Because notice you have planned to declutter all the messes, but you haven't started yet. So to me, I see all the messes and I see it an overwhelm word. I'm going to do it all. But that all can be wicked overwhelming. This is why we chunk it down. This is why we chunk it down. Instead of all, the neat thing is if you're decluttering a house, it's already chunked down into smaller squares. This room, that room, the other room. You can always chunk it down to get started. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So here's a fun thing. John, I love this. And thank you for giving us some you know, kind of call and response here. Saying my body feels great, just not overly inspired to tackle these chaotic projects. This is where the name of my coaching always comes back to save us. Destination decluttered. Notice how, let me just ask you, why would you be inspired to head towards something that you're going to tackle a chaotic project? That doesn't sound like fun to me, right? And it feels overwhelming. Okay. So if you feel overwhelmed, calm down, chunk down, quiet down, breathe down, drink some water, calm down the nervous system. And then that's when, notice what you're looking ahead to. Can you imagine going on vacation and saying, oh, guess what? I got to go tackle a chaotic project. Nobody wants to show up for that. They're driving towards Disney World. They're driving towards Palm Springs. So yes, there's chaos. And yes, it's a project. And I don't like the verb tackle because I don't play football. What I say is this is where, instead of dealing with the chaos, what's going to be the result? What is your destination? Okay. What is your destination? What is the result of that work you're going to do? So aim for that. How do you want your home to look? These are the 3 questions when I'm working, because I do one-on-one coaching with people. I always say, how do you want your home to look? And then write it down, because writing down is another thing. Even before chunking it down, is whatever your thoughts are, write them down. How do I want my home to look? How do I want my home to function? Now, I am a big proponent of a functional home. What does that mean? What's a functional home? It just means easy. Easy. Functional equals easy. Okay, write that down. It means you can easily find what you're looking for, easily use it, and easily put it back where it belongs. How does it look? How does it function? And more important, and this can be a little bit, you know, touchy-feely, but we go there. How do I want to feel in my home when I am walking around it? Now, a lot of us are out of touch with our feelings, so get in touch with it. The funny thing is, going back to that idea of balancing the scales, we have so many more words in the English language to describe things that are crappy, that really we can go in with a surgeon's precision and use not the syllabus. What is it? The thing. Oh, help me out, people. It's the word of the book where the words are similar. I'm thinking it's not coming to mind. You know, where you're like, oh, it's good, it's nice, it's swell, you know, thesaurus. Thank you, Carla. Oh my God, my brain wasn't even going there. So thank you for helping a sister out. Okay. Our thesaurus for how things are shitty is so much more verbose than when things are going well or good. Okay. So I say to you, use that. And this is where we play with the opposites, is to say, if this is how I feel now in my house and I don't like it, what if I did, what's the opposite of that word? If this word makes me feel crappy, the opposite, just like math, would probably make me feel better. So don't even start to drive, because this is a road trip towards a destination you're excited to get to. This is not a commute to a job, a destination you hate. Yeah. And John, I do this all the time, just so you know. And notice, been embarrassed for way too long. Embarrassment, yeah, it just gets you stuck. I grew up cluttered, and I spent many of my decades neat on the surface, but cluttered in the stored clutter and sentimental stuff. I have now worked through all layers of that. And I still have stuff around my house, I'm not going to lie, because I'm just a real human being. But I'm here. I do these YouTube lives. I do TikTok lives if you're on TikTok. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see, seriously, 755 videos. So I'm not fucking around when I say this. I do this stuff all the time, and I'm here to help you with it. One of the things, too, just as a quick aside to everybody, it's a really cool group of people, and we have a free group mailing list that basically allows you to know kind of what I call, because I'm of a certain age, the TV guide of, oh, I really like this show. I'm glad I stumbled upon it, but I want to watch another episode of this live thing. So if you get on my mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com, you get access to a hidden page on my website that shows when I show up to do a YouTube live or a TikTok live or a declutter party, because it's different times of different days of the week and different times, because I live a flexible lifestyle. Okay. So I say to you that there is a process you can use to get decluttered. The process you have been using is one you came up with, either people taught you or you picked it up on the streets or you just kind of made it up as you're going along. I like to get back to almost like my corporate or my work brain to say, if what I'm doing isn't giving me the result at the end, let me go reconfigure the machine. Let me go reconfigure the factory, the process. I put this in, I put my energy in at the end, but when something poops out at the end, I'm like, man, I'm not psyched about it. So let's go and see what stages of the process are causing things to have like a roadblock or something, and then let's rejigger that. I was a process engineer for a number of years. I've also worked in retail. Like, there's so many things that I pull from my very Gen X lifestyle, and all of it is used in helping you to stop feeling overwhelmed and embarrassed and to start being like, hey, you mean there's a way I can do this and not be embarrassed by my clutter? There's a way I can do this and then learn from it and then do something different. I can have a different relationship with clutter in my home, in my retirement, than I ever did when I was working. Hey, suddenly that sounds like an exciting place to drive to. Now, I say this to everybody. If you are stuck, if you're unmotivated, reconnect with where you're headed. Sit there. I mean, I know what it's like to drive to a corporate office park that I am literally and metaphorically dragging my heels, happy to be in traffic because I don't want to be there anyway. But man, when I'm driving to the beach, when I'm driving towards something I love, even if I'm in traffic, it doesn't bug me. I'm closer than I've ever been before. Yeah. So I just offer to you, remind yourself of why I call the coaching Destination Decluttered. Use it every day. Use it throughout the day, because you have different seasons of your day. I've been working since 8 o'clock this morning. I kind of clock out, even though I'm the boss and the employee, I clock out at noontime. I then shift gears, and then I have destination, do my errands, feel good about the things I'm checking off of my boxes. Destination, have a good time while I am out doing errands. Choosing to feel good about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. It's fun. It's a much better feeling way of living and moving through the world and moving through my life than I experienced in the first 50 plus years of my life. What I have learned in my 50s, what I have taught myself, what I've learned from others, and now what I'm sharing with you, Oh, yeah, I wish I learned this when I was in my teens and 20s, but I didn't. Oh, well, I am so glad I'm using this now because already my quality of life chart has skyrocketed in my 50s, and it's going to continue to be up there in my 60s, 70s, and 80s, especially because, and beyond, kind of like the FM radio stations, because I will have less clutter to deal with as I get older, because I will have decluttered at the age I am now, and I'm not bringing in random crap from Target or whatever now. And even if I do have some clutter, I have the muscles, the mental, the thoughts and the feelings and the actions to help me deal with it effortlessly. I freaking love it. And that's why I show up for hours a day, going live on the internet to whoever happens to come by to say, if you're not liking what you're doing, there's a different way. Okay. And this is really sweet because Louise is chiming in. She's saying, John, Beth is wonderful. Now, I'm not saying that Louise is. If anybody can help, it's Beth. Oh, Louise, you're so sweet. Carla Jane, now full disclaimer, Louise and I have done one-on-one coaching in the past, and Carla Jane and I are currently doing one-on-one coaching because I do one-on-one coaching. And Carla is saying, for those of you who are out puttering and decluttering, I have decided the only way I'm going to choose to be embarrassed is if I make the conscious decision to stay here. That is my decision for me and for my future. I can't live this way if I can help it. And then she says, honest to goodness, Beth has changed my future life because my mindset and way of looking and feeling about it all has changed. Aw. Yeah. And I love this. She says, it's not the hoodoo voodoo magic that you do so well, right? You do that voodoo that you do so well. No, it's real life. And isn't it cool when you realize, and this is another thing too, if you don't like how things are now, you can change it. You may not know how to change it. That's where I come in. I have a process that, yes, we tested out in the sandbox of decluttering. I like doing that because I know how shitty it feels when you're cluttered, when you can't find anything, when you go to use a knife and it's dull as ditch water, and then you go try to put it away, but there's so many knives in the knife box that you can't find it. I know the feeling of being cluttered. I much prefer living a decluttered life. And the process to get decluttered is a process that is scalable and transferable to other categories of your life. But why not start with something that you get to see a visual difference? It's similar to weight loss in a way, incrementally changing what you do, noticing the cause and effect, having patience when you don't necessarily immediately see the change, and then kind of suddenly you've lost almost 25 pounds. It's not sudden at all. It's showing up a little bit every day and not being perfect, but doing things slightly better than you did in the past, forgiving yourself your trespasses, and looking forward to having a day that feels better than yesterday. Because every day feels different. Even on the days you're moving slowly forward, I always say to myself, I may be moving slowly, but at least I'm moving, and I'm moving in the direction that I want to go to. Other days you might just say, I can't even get my car out of the garage, so I'm going to let it sit there, and almost like a car that you plug in to charge, I'm going to choose to recharge my battery as I take a nap, as I read a book, heck, as I scroll on TikTok, because that's one of my favorite things to do. So notice that there is the life coaching and the decluttering and the life coaching, but they are two mints in one. I almost said two great tastes that taste great together, but that's Reese's. Remember that one where they're walking around the corner and you've got the thing of peanut butter and then the chocolate bar goes in there? I am so much more team chocolate than I am peanut butter, but man, those are two tastes that taste great together, aren't they? So this is how I coach people. And Carla and Louise know that it may feel like I'm randomly rambling about a commercial from the 70s, but man, oh man, Shevitz, can I hone back on the stuff that's truly important? But why not have fun and get it done? Why does learning have to feel so hard? Why does having to go towards your goals have to be torture or unpleasant? Knuckling down and the grind and the stress and all that. Fuck that. Life is too short. Life is long and short at the same time. When you enjoy every day, feels good. And I love this. Laura Voorhees happens to be making peanut butter chocolate chip cookies right now. OMG. And here's a wonderful thing. This is another analogy. I work with analogy. I could get all technical on everybody about neural pathways and, your nervous system and stuff. And I do go there, but I like to use words that we all understand. I don't care to sound all highfalutin when lowfalutin will do. So Laura Voorhees, talk about a process. She had the idea of making cookies. She got the ingredients. And when she started, the ingredients were all nice and neatly packaged in one area. But then when she decided to go to destination chocolate chip peanut butter cookies, she had to create a process. You will make a temporary mess on the way to your permanent destination. Okay? I love it. Carla, me loves cookies. Yeah, like Cookie Monster. Embrace the temporary mess. Do not be afraid. Oh shit, I made more of a mess than when I started. I've done something wrong because it's looking bad. This is a phrase I use in my coaching and I hand it to you. Please use this. It will look and feel temporarily worse on the way to looking and feeling more permanently better. Let me repeat that if you're writing it down. Write down anything I say that resonates with you. It's free for the taking. Just don't publish a book called Destination Decluttered. I will get my lawyer after you. It will look and feel temporarily worse on the way to, and my brain wants to be like, on the way to Cape May, I fell in love with you. So now I'm going to have to start all over again. It will look and feel temporarily worse on the way to looking and feeling more permanently better. Yeah. There we go. Donna's saying, yeah, and fun is good. When you're laughing, when you're laughing, when you're smiling, the world smiles with you, and it just makes things easier. And laughter really is the antidote to fear. Joy is a survival mechanism. Laughing in the face of fear. Ha ha, you can't scare me, you little man with little hands and even littler pants, Yeah. No, I love it. Carla Jane, and we all know, because many of us have heard Carla Jane because she's from Alabama and she's tuned into some of the decluttering parties we've had. She's been, so you can hear it in Carla Jane's lovely Alabama accent. Our community is a hoot and a half. We have fun, we celebrate each other, we cheer each other on, and we partay together. It's really a precious community and not cult-like. No. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. So John, you are not alone when you are the product of somebody who saved every last thing. What I want to share with you, and I would love to give you the seed to choose to plant it in your garden if you want, is just because my dad was that way doesn't mean I have to be. My dad did not learn how to be anything other than he was, but I am different and I have the opportunity to learn to live a different way. Maybe it made my dad feel good. Oh my God, you watch my videos. I've been helping my mother. I've been decluttering the house that I grew up in for the past 4 years. I found bills that had been paid in 1973 up in the attic. I might need that someday. There's a reason why they were the way they were. There's a reason why we are the way we are right now. But I offer to you, if you don't like it, let's change it. Okay? And change it. Right. So Becca Lee, anytime you get stressed out when things look worse, I want you to think of temporary, and I want you to think of Laura Voorhees's peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Yes, on the way to Cape May, on the way to the chocolate chip cookies that are there on the plate that you're eating, there will be broken eggshells. There will be flour on the counter. There may be sugar on your apron. There may be something that fell on the floor. But you don't get freaked out by that. It's all part of how you get to somewhere. Everything has a gestation period, even cookies. Yeah. And here's a really interesting thing. So notice McDoug's and Carla and Louise and me. Notice how, now I don't know how all old y'all are, and you don't need to share it. I will share that I'm 58 years old. I was raised by people who did not have a lot of money. They were raised by people who didn't have a lot of money. And back to the generations, it was probably less and less and less. Those generations that raised us also were either directly or indirectly affected by, at least in the United States, the Great Depression of the 1930s. That they really truly felt like, I don't even have a twist tie. But notice that that is almost 100-year-old thing that is still affecting us in our generation. Okay. So you're not alone. There are so many people that I could, if I chose to, I could write a freaking thesis, a college thesis about why there is such the proliferation of clutter and people that feel stuck with clutter at this time in our lives. Let's just say there's evidence as to why we're not alone, that it's not a personal fault. But what I will say is, we live in different times. We can do different things. Yeah, the just in case I need it someday, totally valid. I do that myself to this day. But then I say to myself, all right, self, when was the last time I used that? And then after I ask myself a question, I practice being polite. I shut up and I listen for the answer. You haven't used that Instapot in like 6 months. All right, well, you know what? We're going to use it. We're going to make a plan. All right, 6 months passes. Oh, we haven't used the Instapot yet. All right, we're really going to use it now. Maybe we'll put a Post-it note on it that says use before this. If you find yourself not using the things that you've stored away, that's okay. It means your life is going by fine without it. But that gives you some context to say, why do I still feel unsafe letting it go? And that's why I felt it was really important when I first started coaching people to get my certification to be a life coach. I am not a mental health therapist. No, I don't care to be, but I have enough knowledge of diving a little bit deeper under the water, going a little bit deeper to realize that there are thoughts that you have about the stuff that makes you feel a feeling. And when you feel a feeling about something, you either hang on to it or you more easily let it go. Okay? Yeah. So you're in good company, John. I will say you're in good company. All of us are doing this stuff. Now, I love this. Carla Jane, just to give context, because Carla Jane and I are doing one-on-one coaching together because I coach people from all over the U.S. Carla is cleaning out her mom's house, her parents' house, okay? Carla burned 84 years worth of tax returns, tags, receipts, store receipts, found her will in a cookbook. Talk about not being able to find something important, functionality, right? She had 3 different ones and she had over 1,000 cookbooks. Now, the neat thing is look at Carla Jane. She's working to change things now because she inherited a way of thinking and feeling about stuff, but she's changing it. Carla has a daughter too. My daughter finally used one of the 5 crock pots last night that was never ever used. And even though her mom never used a crock pot in her life, her mom thought it was a good idea to acquire 5 of them. So we are a product of our environments, the people the time of the world that we're growing up in, and the people that raised us, and the society at large. We are influenced by all of that. This is not just you having this struggle and everybody else has figured it out. So I share that with all of you. To John, if you're new, again, for new people who've been lurking, who aren't even in the chat, totally cool. I'm a lurker myself, okay? But what I will say is this as we wrap up, because it's 11:59 and I look forward to clocking out and going outside and playing. Don't feel bad about what you've done in the past. Learn from it and do something different. Okay? I'm here to help you learn that different stuff. I have all sorts of resources available to you. But just know, even if we never see each other again, I would love to leave you with this. If you don't like something that's going on, you have the power to change it. Okay? Now, speaking of change, as we wrap up, I'm going to go to the shallow end to get all admin on us. So today is Thursday, June 26th. That was my YouTube live at 11. Tomorrow is Friday, June 27th. There is a TikTok live in the morning and there's a YouTube live later on the day. If you want to find out the exact time to tune in to YouTube at Destination Decluttered or TikTok on Destination Decluttered, sign up for the mailing list. You go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com, and sign up for the mailing list. You'll get an automatic email that gives you the link to the secret page that has the TV guide on it. And I love it. Kim K says, don't forget to put on your play clothes. Here's the funny thing. I am in my play clothes all the time here. When I go out, I practically get dressed up. All right. I love hanging out with y'all, as Carla would say. Such a good, kind, awesome group of people. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for showing up and keeping me company. And thank you for being so welcoming to new people. All right. We all know what it's like. All right. We're good people here. All right. But in the meantime, here, let me do this. How can Laura Voorhees, enjoy your cookies. Let me get over here. I got to end the stream soon. Okay. I think I can do that. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Make it a good one. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.